In this video, we're going to show every single step we use to transform this bedroom wall with a nice bead board and some molding. So let's get at it. Once you decide to try bead board with some molding on it, the first thing you have to do is decide what size you want. Because this bed has a pretty high headboard, we decided on 6 feet high we wanted the bead board. That's about that mark there. And initially we were going to do 8 feet wide, but then my wife decided she would rather have it the whole wall. So this is going to be 6 feet by 10 feet. Once we had our plan, we headed out to Home Depot. This is the board we got. We needed 3 pieces. This is the molding we got. It's actually a fancy piece of crown molding, but sitting flat against the wood, this is the look we're looking for. This wall is pretty flat, so we decided we're going to nail the sheet goods right to the wall instead of putting furring strips behind it. But we do have to remove the baseboard so we can have the sheet goods go flat all the way to the ground. Once we rip that base off, you can see the shape of this baseboard, how it gets more narrow at the top. Well, the side baseboard was cut to fit that narrow part. So we need to cut that top off so our sheet goods will fit flat on the back wall. This is certainly an ugly corner, but now that opening is wide enough for the beadboard to slide back there, and we'll fix it with some caulk later on. And here we're trimming the baseboard on the right side. And it's a little better picture since I'm right-handed, and a little better cut. And to make the rest of the wall flat, we got rid of this old landline. It's already disconnected in the basement. I just stuffed the wires in the hole, and we'll just put the sheet goods right on top of that. Each piece of beadboard is 4 feet wide, and we need 10 feet to cover the whole wall. So we decided to put 2 full pieces in the middle because there's a good nailer right in the middle. And then each side of the full sheets will have 1 foot pieces. Our first full piece is going to go right over this receptacle. So we're going to mark it on the board and cut it out before we install it. We're going to change out that busted receptacle too. So it's really important to get the first piece nice and level. And if this phone ever focuses, you can see that this one's pretty level, and I'm going to mark the wall right where it is. So that pencil line right there is the right side of piece number 1. That's where we're going to nail it. So now it's easy to measure back from that line to see exactly where to cut the hole for the outlet. Once you have the box drawn onto the wood, the way I go about it is I cut a hole in each corner of that box. Once those holes are in place, then I change to a jigsaw to cut out the box, trying to be careful not to make it too big. The outlet lines up pretty good with the hole, but I need to trim the very bottom and the very top in the middle of this hole so you can get the screws out. I just marked it on there. Just be careful not to cut anything that a faceplate won't cover. I tried to set the first panel, but it wasn't sitting level at all. So I'm just going to vacuum real good, real close to the wall where the wood is going to sit. After cleaning the floor, the piece is sitting nice and level. Before we get started with the nail gun, we got to make sure all our studs are clearly marked. Some of them are 16 on center. Sometimes I don't know how they calculated where the studs are. I do know there's no water lines in this wall, so we won't be having any huge disasters this afternoon. At the top of the piece, we mark our studs, and with all these lines on this board, it should be very, very difficult to miss a stud. You want to keep all your beadboard in the same direction. You can see this one has like a little lip that slides under the next piece. You can see it better in this picture. And there's a little groove behind the opposite side of any piece of beadboard so they fit together. And because they fit together like that, we put the furthest piece on the left in first after we had the proper measurements for the middle 2 full pieces. I would say the key is once you get that first piece up nice and level, Everything else just falls right into place. This is the third piece we put up, which would have been the second full piece, and we had to do that same thing with an outlet on the right bottom side. This is the last piece on the far right side. This one will fit behind the baseboard we notched out first, and then fit right onto the previous piece of board, and we're going to nail that in. So my top molding is one piece. We got lucky they had a 10-footer. It's just a touch long, and I'm going to cut it with a coping saw because all those little blocks are glued in, and I don't want them flying all over with a power saw. We chose to stain this molding instead of painting it. It's a special walnut 224, and we could always paint over it if we didn't like it, but this is a pretty dark stain, and I think it comes out pretty nice. The dental molding is on the wall, and I'm putting a top cap on it. It's just a 1x4 painted with the same stain, and I think it looks pretty good. So we zeroed in on these two colors. The dark one is for the accent wall, and the light color is for the rest of the room. And here's a shot of the bead board by itself, all painted out and still drying. After plastering all the old picture holes on the walls, and there was a ton of them, I ended up painting the ceiling first, and then I cut in the primary color all over the place before painting the walls. And finally, this is the finished product. I appreciate everybody watching. Please consider sharing this video with someone else that might like that kind of decorative wall. Leave a comment or subscribe to our channel. These things all help us, and we really appreciate it. Take care. Have a good one.